What's up, everybody? Rant-Man here. And tonight, I want to talk about the Fox News problem, more specifically in relation to Jeffrey Epstein and their coverage of the matter, or lack thereof. In today's world, everything is about sensationalism and who can make the most catchy and enticing content to gain the most viewers and sway them to believe their point of view. They use flashy, in-your-face graphics, suspenseful music and sound bites, and controversial titles that might grab the viewer's attention and draw them in to watch. Fox News, however, has a unique way of spinning facts into opinionated statements or questions to appear as though they are reporting facts. Instead, they're only saying the things that play to their narrative or trying to change your opinion on a matter rather than just reporting the facts and letting you develop your own opinions. This is manipulation at its finest, because rather than laying out the actual truth, they bury selective elements of the truth into what they're saying before telling you how you should feel about it. So, how did they do this Epstein stuff? Horribly. The coverage of the Jeffrey Epstein files on Fox News has been characterized by critics as a strategy of minimization, selective reporting, and deflection aimed at protecting Donald Trump and his associates, rather than an objective analysis of the documents. The difference between the propaganda, often highlighted by critics, and the actual facts lie in the selective, often politically charged framing of the information. Fox News is consistently seen running damage control for Donald Trump by downplaying or recontextualizing the information within the Epstein files. They manipulate the public opinion of Trump, his family, and their associates to a more positive appeal, while claiming the left-wing media as only attacking them for their own political gain. That doesn't really sound all too fair? Not fair. I don't want to say fair. Truthful, honest, sportsmanlike, whatever you want to use. It's just kind of a shitty way to do things. Here's the fact. We're going to tell you this little element of it, and we're going to add all this other stuff and speculate and try to sway your opinion by asking questions. Open-ended questions. Is that really what's happening? Or is it this? And now you're wondering about that when it was never a thought in your mind. See, this does more damage for American people than it does to their political opponents. Because now you're making us buy this information that you're selling that's sensationalizing something that, for one, might not even be that big of a deal, while you downplay something that is a big deal because it would make dear leader look bad. So the minimization and silence technique. So critics and media monitoring groups have noted that Fox News has significantly undercovered the Epstein file revelations compared to other networks, and sometimes not covering them at all. For example, during a period in early 2026, Fox News only mentioned Epstein 239 times, whereas CNN and MSNBC made over 2,000 to 3,000 mentions. The truth is, there's just been this huge volume of materials. New batches of documents, including millions of files, have been released detailing Epstein's connections. But with over millions of files and all this evidence and flight logs and transactions, bank records, and everything, and as many times as Trump's name has been mentioned, which I've heard many people say that his name's in there more times than Harry Potter's name was said in the entire series of books combined. So, I mean, that right there kind of throws the whole, wasn't involved at all argument into the garbage. So, Fox claims in July of 2025, they're sitting here trying to say, there's no client list, there's no client list, there's no client list. But you can easily scan through the documents and compile a client list because there's so much evidence already in there. But we know Fox News will never share that. They like to deflect to other figures when they do cover. Fox has been criticized for focusing on figures like Bill Clinton while downplaying or just outright ignoring evidence involving Donald Trump. For example, when reports started circulating that Trump knew about the girls or allegations of his close association with Epstein, Fox News did not want to talk about that. They barely covered it. They said he had no affiliation. He didn't know about the girls. But the truth is, there was a lot of involvement of the prominent figures. The file confirmed that Donald Trump was a close friend of Epstein for 15 years. Some reports noting that he was a regular at Epstein's parties in the 90s. The file contains names of so many powerful individuals, including Bill Gates and Elon Musk. Trump was mentioned. Howard Lutnick was mentioned. Leon Black was mentioned. There are just name after name after name after name. All these rich people, these billionaires and these influential people, and not just them. I mean, look at the people in power. And even those who aren't now, but were, like Steve Bannon. It's crazy. Les Wexner, all over the stuff. But we're not really talking about them. And speaking of Lutnick, the disaster that happened when he appeared in front of the House Oversight Committee. The reports say he was sweating, he was nervous, not answering questions, dancing around stuff, trying to change the language, like the English language. Well, CC, when I said that I would not be present in the same room as that man, I meant me personally by myself. But, you know, we, my family, all went to the island and had lunch with them. So technically I didn't lie. Like, come on, dude. You gotta be kidding me. Your name is all over this. You know you were a dirty, dirty man that did some nasty stuff. It's gonna come out. So quit lying about it. You're only gonna set yourself up for more, because even though he didn't swear himself in under oath, whether you're under oath or not, when you are in a congressional hearing and you lie to Congress, that is still a felony. And you could still go to jail for that. So keep that in mind. But in November of 2025, emails from Epstein were released suggesting that he did know about the girls in the trafficking ring. So you already see here the contradiction. Fox News saying, oh, you didn't know about that. You don't know how to read. All those files and documents and evidence and everything else in the Epstein files that are legit. No, those are all, that's all crazy. That's lies. You don't know how to read. Just listen to us. You don't have to read. Just listen to what we tell you. It's not how it should work. They should go through what's factually there, report that to us, tell us how it could affect us and what could be done to fix it, and then tell us what steps are being set into motion to solve the problem. Instead, they try to make us feel like we're wrong if we question them, and that we're un-American, and that we're anti-Semites or whatever it may be. Like, if you say anything against their narrative, you're wrong. You're the enemy. So, manipulated content. Reports in July of 2025 suggested that Fox and Friends aired manipulated version of an interview with Donald Trump in which he appeared to agree to fully declassify the Epstein files. But in reality, the raw footage showed that he refused to unequivocally endorse the full declassification, citing potential to harm people's lives. Whose lives, Donald? Whose lives are you going to harm? The DOJ already harmed the victims' lives by releasing all of that information that should have been redacted, and even the redactions that they did, you were able to still basically just remove the black lines from the PDF and see everything that was there. And then they took their sweet time getting that stuff fixed and back out. And I mean, just pulled in general, took their time. And yet none of the bad people's names were left unredacted. They were all covered up. Somebody in Bizarro World doing this or something? Is it opposite day in the DOJ? It must have been. Because the people that you're worried about harming are the people who are the worst offenders. And if that wasn't enough, then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's talking about her conversation with Trump now, where he says, "But Marjorie, my friends will get hurt. They shouldn't be your friends." I know I said that before in a different video, but I'll say it again. They shouldn't be your friends. And if they do that kind of stuff and you run with them, it kind of speaks to you and your character. They like to focus on technicalities. They will highlight issues with the release of the files, such as technical glitches and redactions and arguments from the DOJ that the files contain sensationalist and untrue claims. You gotta be kidding me. Yes, some of the FBI tips seem a bit far-fetched, and there are a lot of just tips where somebody called into the FBI, they answered it, and they had to document it. Yeah, there's a lot of that in there, but there's a lot of other stuff that is factual. Bank records, flight logs, visas, just so much evidence that ties these people to it that could very easily start the investigation. But that's sensationalist. That's untrue. And then they defend Trump and his record. Despite allegations, Fox News has positioned Donald Trump as having done more to bring light to the truth behind the Epstein crimes than anyone else, portraying criticism as politically motivated, particularly from Democrats and some Republicans like Thomas Massie. Shout out to Massie. They're spending millions of dollars against him in his campaign because they know he's going to win, and he sides with justice and not Trump. It's all right. You see, the truth is, Fox News Network should really change their name to Fox Propaganda Network because they consistently make light of real issues and facts. It's funny to me how most of the other media outlets are pretty consistent in their reporting of the information, and yet almost everything Fox News claims is contradictory to that information. They say there are two sides to every story, and the truth lies somewhere in between. By no means am I saying the other mainstream media networks are 100% accurate and that they cover everything in full. In fact, all these networks are owned by large corporations run by billionaires, and some of them are Trump's friends. So where should you look to find the truth? Independent media. Don't trust everything you read online, though, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. You'll have to do a little bit of research to find the right media channels or networks or pages or newspapers or whatever. They're out there, though. I promise. They are out there. But you gotta watch out for those videos where it's some kind of big bombshell. Oh boy, you gotta see this. Trump is being impeached right now. FBI shows up to remove him from office. Yeah, something like that. Highly unlikely that's true. Because if you start looking at some of these other networks, you go on TV and you go to CNN, you go to MSNBC, you even go to Fox News, and none of that stuff's being covered because it's not true. They're just talking about the other stuff going on during the day, showing Todd Blanche and Kash Patel going all crazy on the reporters, giving these briefings and dancing around the truth. They're best at that. Instead of dancing with the stars, it's dancing with the truth. Watch as Kash Patel and Todd Blanche and Donald Trump and Catherine Levitt and everybody else square dances around the truth. They might tango. They might do the cha-cha. Either way, they're not going to cover it. So what are some key factors to look for when you're trying to find your source of independent media news? First, I recommend looking at the @ Look at the handle, the name of the channel or page or whatever it is, depending on your platform. Make sure that the name actually matches or is close to the name that's being broadcast or in the logo or whatever it may be. If they're doing interviews and talking about independent media news, basically the facts and what's going on and they're trying to tell you, if they have reporters, look into them. Make sure they're real people. There's a lot of AI information out there. Look at if it's in a different language or a different country. It's probably not going to be reporting our news. Although it seems like we're getting more accurate news from Iran than we are from our country about our war. When it comes to the Epstein files, try to look at the people who have supporting documentation or can direct you to somewhere that the facts are, like the DOJ Epstein files. You can go to the DOJ yourself and pull them up and look. They're there. You can go to the J-Mail files and find all that stuff, all nice and categorized and neatly put together for you. It's out there. Just look. But the best recommendation I can give you is when you're looking for your media, look around. Don't just follow one channel, one outlet, and say, I'm going to believe everything that these people say, because that is the Fox News problem. You can't just listen to one group of people. The best thing you can do is find a few different networks and compare and see if they're all talking about the same stuff. And typically, when you take out the opinions and the questions and everything, and you just look at the core of what they're reporting, if it's consistent, then that's going to be your truth. That's going to be the facts. And then everything they say on top of that, that's their opinion. That might be some leading questions. It's just how it goes. And yeah, you're going to be like, oh, well, some of these bigger ones are sponsors. Okay, well, they say they're sponsors and shout out to them and plug them, whatever, just like anybody else. But they're not affecting what they're reporting on. Another factor is to check their library of content. Make sure that they're consistently reporting on the news and that it's not just a one-off episode about the news. If they're an independent media company, then, or network or whatever, then all of their information should be related to news and real world things going on. They shouldn't be one about music, one about pop culture, one about movie ratings, one about movie reviews, another one about Beyonce, and then one about the Iran war. And it's like, this is a bit outside of what you're normally talking about. I think you're just trying to bring attention to your page. Personally, I recommend the Midas Touch Network because they're professionals. They are lawyers. They're professional journalists. They've been doing this for years before they ever picked up a mic and started talking about it. They have round-the-clock coverage. They are constantly throughout the day, every day, updating, uploading new videos. Most of them range from 10 to 20, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less minutes. And they talk about a specific topic. They tell you what it is. They report what happened, what the information is. They explain, this is how it's going to affect you. This is what we need to do to fix that problem. And this is what can happen if it goes unchecked or not taken care of. And if there's already steps being taken, they report on what the steps are. They inform you of who is in charge of it, or who said whatever it may be, or who did whatever it may be. They report the facts. They gather all the information and they tell you what it is, not what they think. They don't ask you questions to try to lead you to think one way or the other. They just tell you what it is. And I like that. So, final thoughts. First and foremost, don't trust Fox News. And be wary of all mainstream media for that matter. Listen to the experts. Listen to the people that are actually there. If you want to hear a story about what representatives are dealing with in the House, listen to the representative that's dealing with it in the House. Listen to them tell you what the bill is or what the oversight is. Watch C-SPAN. They literally broadcast live from Congress. Watch it in real time for yourself. Don't just come home and pop on primetime Fox News and listen to what Jesse Waters and the rest of the dumb bunch start trying to cram in your head. Because at the end of the day, they only care about what's going into their pockets, not what they're taking out of yours. Until next time, I'm Rant-Man.